Raise your hand if you're not an instructor. Okay, well, non-instructors, thank you. Okay, okay. Well, thank you all again for being here and really making this investment in your day to be here. Like it definitely shows a lot that you came, out of your busy life to come here today. If you haven't had a chance, in the back, for those of you that are in person, I have a card, an envelope, and a handout. Okay. And friends that are online. So we have, I'm just kind of checking. I'm kind of doing the double computer here. I'm just checking to make sure that we're good online. For those of you that are online, we will have everything will be uploaded after this session. Okay. So here we are, we're talking about fueling student drive, okay? And so here, just a second, I need to mute this. Okay, so when we're talking about fueling student drive, sorry, I want to know, pair up with someone that is close to you, maybe you're a group of 2, group of 3, and what struggles do you have with student motivation? So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to talk about that. Friends online, type in the chat, and I think we're supposed to chat in the Whova chat, not on the regular chat. So if you're with me, type in the Whova chat. Okay, friends online, if you can think of any more struggles that you have with student and motivation, do continue typing those in the chat. I will stop our group here in just a second. Okay, friends, let's come together and let me tell you a couple that people said online, and then we will shout out and say a few struggles that we've noticed in our students for the folks that are in person. So we have online inconsistent attendance. Anyone else have that issue? Yes, many of us do. Relating the material to their lives outside of the classroom, right? How many of you have students that say, when am I ever going to use this, right? It's hard to keep students motivated when they're facing struggles at home. And we know that our students have a lot of struggles at home, right? Learning struggles like dyslexia, right? Our students experience that as well. What are some other things that y'all discussed here in person? Go ahead. Okay, so they have to be there for a full quarter, and you said their parents are making them come? Right. They court ordered. Ooh. Isn't there a lack of motivation with those students, right? That are forced to be there by court. Okay, what were you going to say? So he said that the barriers that they struggled with when they were in high school originally, they still have those barriers, right? And those barriers are still getting in the way. What else can you think of, other barriers that are getting in the way of student success? Pardon me? Childcare. Yes. Transportation for sure. Yes. Yes. Working the third shift, having to come to class, no sleep. Right. So we see this, we're from all over the country, right? Folks online, we just went through and we sort of found out where people are from, and we're from all over. I mean, we go from Alaska to Florida and everywhere in between in this room here. And so our students, they're all sort of facing the same struggles, right? So we are all in this together with our students having those same struggles. So I'm so thankful that you are here. So let me ask you though, here's a question. Have you found an influx of 16 to 17-year-olds? Yeah. And that, I don't know about your program, but for my program, that has certainly escalated the problems I have with student motivation. I mean, those some of those students definitely, like you said, they dropped out of high school for a reason, and coming directly to the college, or I'm at a college, to our programs that we offer, it creates difficulty, especially if they are court court ordered to be here. Okay, so I have a picture of a couple of cows here because I heard an analogy recently. So specifically thinking about these younger students, when we set too many rules and set too many regulations, and that's kind of like them feeling like they're stuck in a pen with all these other cows. And what do? They just kind of push against the walls. They're pushing up against the rules. Nobody is happy when we are figuratively all just forcing rules upon the students, forcing guidelines, right? And it doesn't work. But then many of our students, if we just give them complete freedom, they feel lost, right? There's too much freedom. They feel like they're lost in this system. And that's not working either, right? We don't want them to be resisting and pushing back by setting too many guidelines, too many boundaries, but then also we don't want it to be too freeing where they have to figure it out themselves. And so what we need to do is we really need to, I swear I had a, okay. So one thing that I do in my classes is I have my students help develop and set expectations. So I might take a good 10 minutes, and this is, the first day or two of my classes, and we write up on the board, what expectations do you have? So we start off with, what expectations do you have of yourself? Right? Because our students, they come to classes and we want to make sure that, are you here for the right reason? Set the expectations that you have for yourself. And if you have the expectation of showing up every day, well, then you need to show up every day, right? You said that you were going to. Don't lie to yourself, right? And then what sort of expectations do you have of your classmates? So we are constantly saying, this is an adult program. This is an adult program. The more 16 and 17-year-olds we've had, the more we've been saying it. This is an adult program. And now, like, our students start to even kind of mock it a little bit. This is an adult program, right? But really setting the expectations, because I don't want my students to feel like this is high school. I don't want my students to just drop out, right? Set the expectations of themselves and of classmates. But then I don't want to just be like a sage on the stage. I want my students to feel like I am their partner in helping them with success. And the way I do that is, what expectations do you have of me as your teacher? And the ones that were in high school, they have some rough things to say about the high school teachers. Sure, some of them are true, but some of them probably maybe are a little bit um, exaggerated. But I think that the students didn't feel listened to many of the times. And so, really, there's nothing that the students have said, no expectations that they have of me that I don't actually already do, right? But they feel empowered because I've been able to say, here are what expectations do you have of me? I guess there is one that I don't always, well, no, that I never do. And that is they want me to take the test for them, right? Sorry, I can't do that. But that's one of the first things that I like to do with my students. Okay, so when we set these expectations, these guidelines, the cows, or I mean students, they're not feeling pinned in with all these rules, but they're not feeling too wide open and completely lost. It's contained, it's organized, and we've got a happy farm, right? All the cows, all the students are happier because of the guidelines and expectations that we've set together. And as a teacher, kind of already know what they are, but my students feel empowered because they feel like they created them, right? Okay, so a little bit about me. So I have a master's degree in education. I have a CELTA certification in ESL. I've been teaching adult ed my entire career, 14 plus years, and I've taught everything from the beginning ELL classes all the way up to the HSE classes. And I'm also a keynote speaker. Okay, so if you have a state conference, I would love to fly out to your state and be a keynote speaker. So please take note of that. Thank you. Take notes. I'd love to go to Alaska. Okay, so a few things about my program. So I'm located in Wyoming, and Wyoming leads the nation in HiSET pass rates. In addition, we rank 5th in measurable skills gains. It has not always been like this, though. When I started back in 2011, we were ranked 35th, and our state did an entire shift called Align and Redesign, and now we've consistently been ranking 5th. My program itself has surpassed all measurable skills gains since 2016, and I am one of the 2 lead instructors in my program. And so I don't say these things to brag. I say these things to tell you that what I'm sharing with you today is working in my program and is working for my state. Okay, but a little bit about me on a personal level. I'm a mom and a wife. I have a cat owner, cat lover. I'm an avid baker and cake decorator, and I also enjoy exploring the outdoors since I live near the mountains, right? Okay, so some of you have said that you are familiar with I have a YouTube channel. It's called Purely Persistent. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of it. Okay, great. I hope that you're sharing it with your students. I hope that you're using it with your students. We can get a, let's get a selfie later, and then you can share it with your students, and we can be excited. They can know that you've met me in person. But I started this YouTube channel to help my students, but also to help your students. And I receive positive comments every day with students telling me that my YouTube channel has helped them accomplish their GED or their HiSET. And it's really an amazing resource that I'm able to provide for free. So it's free. Share it with your students. So it's called Purely Persistent. There's content on there for teachers and also students. And I'm going to be providing more and more content for teachers. And I'm an adult ed trained instructor. I'm not just someone off the street sharing information about the GED or HiSET. It's free, and I have over 35,000 subscribers. So it's certainly growing. Okay. Oh, thank you. You're so kind. I can't tell you the amount of work I put into this, and you get it for free. So, what I like to think of is if you take your student, they've got their local adult education program where you're working with them, combine purely persistent, and that will accelerate your students completing their high set or GED. Okay. Now, I would like to connect with all of you. So, if you scan this QR code, you can connect with me, download. I have a free student retention checklist that I am giving, and all the resources from my sessions will be provided here. So, everyone, pull out your phone and add this to. Okay, I'll wait just a second while we continue. Your phone is dead? Okay, if your phone is dead, then if you grabbed the pink worksheet in the back, there's a little tiny QR code on that as well, and you can get it later, or else I can, yeah. Okay, so when you do it, so you'll just fill out your name and your email, and also you do want to check your junk mail because sometimes my emails go into people's junk mail. Okay. And then you won't be able to receive resources that I send. Every couple of weeks, I send out a letter, and I try and like I'm always providing useful information. So every week I provide a free video on my YouTube channel, and I link that to it. So, just free resources that you can use in your classroom and share with your students. Okay, but let's dive right into this. Here's where we're going to go in today's lesson. So, the first thing in motivating your students is to only accept motivated students, right? A little easier said than done. Number 2 is to figure out their why. 3, develop cohorts, food and fun, and then the motivating action plan. Okay, so first thing, only accept motivated students. I don't know what your onboarding process is, but you may be accepting students that are not quite ready at this point in their lives to get their GED or their high set. Is anyone in here an ELL teacher? Okay. Do you teach No. Do you teach GED high set classes too? Okay. So when I say like adult ed classes, this goes for everything, but I tend to say GED high set because that's what I do. So if I say ELL, I'm talking about everything, okay? But so only accept motivated students. How do we do this? My program, we offer information sessions. Okay. So we're really right when a student comes in the door, we give them a little bit of information, but we do not enroll them right then. Right? Remember how we used to go shopping on Black Friday before online shopping was a thing? Do you remember that? Do you remember how excited you would get about something? Or maybe you did layaway and you would find something and you'd be so excited, and then you would have to wait. Do you remember that? Or even Christmas. You just have to wait. And then Christmas hits, and how do you feel? So excited, right? So that's really what we're doing. It's not that instant gratification that with online shopping and technology that we're so used to right now. It's that delayed gratification. So we don't let our students in right away. We start off with informational sessions, okay? And by doing so, we're able to reduce the dropout rates by making sure that our program aligns with the goals that our students have. And it also creates a very positive first impression of our program. So they know what to expect before they even start. Okay, this is a quick pause. I said Christmas, and that made my mind think about today is, I can't even remember how to say it. So it's essentially, it's the end of Ramadan. Eid, happy Eid. I was practicing saying it in Islamic, like happy, like how do you say it? Eid Mubarak. There we go. Eid Mubarak. So it's the end of Ramadan, and today is essentially like at the level of Christmas for Muslim and Islamic people. So Eid Mubarak. Blessings on Ramadan. Okay, so I wanted to say that just in case any of you are Muslim. Okay. All right. So we have sort of a puzzle piece that we follow with our orientation. So first, we share with them what to expect. So this is going to be an overview of our program. And it's a great chance for our potential students, right? They're not new students yet. They haven't enrolled. Maybe we have their phone number, right? And they get a chance to meet the instructors, meet the staff, and they get to learn about our program in general, how our program works. If you want to be on a computer all the time, and have us provide your computer, then this is not going to be the program for you, right? Our classes are going to be using books, using this thing called a pencil, right? And so we get a chance to explain this to our students. And we also tell them about resources that are available. Okay. These are letters to students. Okay. Now, if you're like me and you're sitting in the back, I might need to put my glasses on because my vision's not that good. So let me read a couple of these to you. These are letters that students wrote to incoming students to let the students know that maybe this experience is not going to be as bad. It's not as, they don't need to be nervous. Okay, so let me read a couple of these for you. Okay, so I'm going to read the second one here. Hey, it's not so bad. I didn't get to graduate from high school because some of the teachers, but that's okay because I got to experience this. It's not that bad. Yes, it may be stressful at times, but they have people to help you get around that. Imagine being a brand new potential student, feeling nervous, and you read these. Here's another one. Hey there. I know how anxious you're probably feeling this week. That's totally normal and expected. It means you're trying something new, even if it doesn't seem very fun. Try to think about it as an investment to your future. I was very nervous, as I knew I would likely be one of the older attending students. I tried my best to make friends, which I did, and broke the anxious ice by speaking or starting first. Enjoy investing in your education. You are worth it. So again, these are students that haven't enrolled in the program, that are coming in maybe with their parents or maybe by themselves. They're anxious to do this. We give them this letter. Does it solve all the problems? No, but it certainly makes them not as worried. Okay, the next thing we do in our orientation process or informational session is we talk to them about the process of obtaining their high school equivalency certificate. So we break it down, start to finish, and also an overview of required subjects. Let me tell you one other thing. If you have a rumor going around the high schools that getting their GED or HiSET is easier than actually graduating from high school. Does anybody have that going around? Okay, here's something, and I actually provided this in my email to the teachers that are on my email list, but we gave them a letter telling them about what's on the HiSET GED math test. So when a student wants to drop out of high school, if they have to go visit with their counselor, the counselor gives them this, they see the math test, and they might be like, oh, well, maybe I should just stay in high school and finish it, right? Hasn't worked for every student, but it certainly opened some eyes for a few students before they dropped out of high school. But that's not included in here. That's just an added bonus. Okay, so this is the process it takes in my program. So first they start, and then we have the placement test. We do the tape test, and we charge $20. Does anyone else charge? Or is your program completely free? It's free. Ours could be free. this $20, it's not, is it funding my program? Absolutely not. But what it's doing is it's providing a little bit of buy-in. Sometimes when you have to pay, even if it's just a little bit, then you're going to take it more seriously. And so if it's a major struggle for some students that are serious, then yeah, we'll give them a little bit of grace and we won't charge them that fee. But most students, you charge a fee and they're going to take it more seriously. And this is something that $20 is something that most of our students can afford. Is it going to be, if they're really serious about it, they might not be able to get as many Red Bulls this week, right? But it's going to be an investment, right? Okay, so then we also do a Start Smart. That's our orientation program that we do. And then we have them in classes. So if they're NRS 1 to 4, they take classes. We have morning classes, and then also we have a fast track or an evening class. Then they do the post test, or if they're straight NRS 5 or 6, then they take the HiSET practice test. In my state, they have to be well prepared in all 5 areas, and then they go and take the actual HiSET test, graduation, college, career. So having a map like this really helps our students know what this process is going to be, right? It's not going to be, I go in, even though I'm at like a 3rd grade level, I go in, I pass, I'm done, right? This is what the process takes. It might take a year, it might take 2, right? Setting that expectation right away. Okay, so this also shares with our students commitment, right? So we talked to them about the importance of attendance. We have an attendance policy. Does anyone else have an attendance policy in here? Okay, a few, yeah. So if they're not attending 75% of the time, I wouldn't say they get kicked out, but they get asked to come back when the new term starts, when the new quarter starts, when they're ready to take this more seriously. And it's a little hard, right? It's a tough conversation, but if they're not committed to this, then there's another student that could be taking their spot. We also talk about active participation. You're not just going to be on your phone. You're not going to have your head down. This is what we expect. And again, this is all before the students even come. They know what to expect. Setting personal goals. And then, as I mentioned before, this is an adult program. Okay, so this is our weekly schedule that we also give to them. So they understand this is the time commitment that we're looking at. If you can attend classes, that's ideal. But if you can't, then we have like an evening class once a week. Maybe that's for you, but you need to set aside time. Show me on this list, when are you going to be studying? And again, show us what your commitment is. Okay, then we also show success stories. So inspirational testimonials from graduate. This can be you. And that makes our students, of course, excited as well, or our soon to be students. And then we have our next steps. So reflect on decisions. So then they can schedule the pre-testing and actually become students. And then when they return, they're returning with a purpose. And all of this is just a 1 hour, maybe not even a 1 hour, maybe more like a half an hour presentation where we have multiple students. They have to schedule when they're going to do the informational session. Okay, so next we need to figure out their why. Why is this important to you at this point in your life? Okay, so this is what I like to call the 7 levels deep exercise. This is uncovering deeper motivations. Do you ever ask your students, why are you getting your GED? And what do they say? To get a job? What else do they say? Somebody made them. And you know what I tell them? That's not a good enough reason. You need to figure out why you want to be here. It's not because grandma thinks you should be here. It's not because you just dropped out of high school and aren't ready to go get a job, right? So we do this 7 levels deep exercise. Honestly, we don't really even go 7 levels deep, but uh, with the students, actually, let's do the teacher one first. Okay, so do you all have the handout? It's a pink piece of paper. Friends online, I'm sorry, I will get it for you later. Damien says to set an example for their children. I see that is the answer I like to hear, right? Why are you here to set an example? Because those students are going to be motivated. Okay, so jobs, college, mom made me. Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to do what's called we're going to do the 3 levels deep. Instead of the 7, we're just going to do the 3. So online friends, you can just type this in the chat. No, don't type it in the chat. Just write it on a piece of paper. Everyone else on the pink sheet, there's a section where it kind of guides you through this. So what I want to know, I want you to write this down. Why do you teach or work with adult learners? So I want you to write that down on the pink sheet. I'll give you just a minute. Well, 30 seconds. Okay, can I get a volunteer to tell me why do you teach or work with adult learners? Okay.
So before working with the adult education program I work with now, I was an advisor for a TRIO program. So we helped with assisting students coming into college for the first time. And I actually worked very closely with the program I currently work with now. And I've seen how successful they can be at the college level. And I kind of wanted to shift my focus from helping them get into college to helping them get to college. So,
Okay, so helping them get to college. Okay, so my next question is why is that important to you? Why do you want to help them get to college?
just because a lot of the people that I work with in the community that we live in, it's not pushed a lot to go to college, and so a lot of them think that they can't go to college, and so we're really trying to break that down to tell them like you can go to college and you can be successful. And a lot of our students say the same thing, like we've worked at the same job for 20 years and we're not going anywhere. And the only way that we are going to go anywhere is if we go to college and get a better job. But they're like, we don't even have our high school diploma. So getting them that motivation to say, hey, you're going to pass this rigorous test. You're ready to go to college. You're ready and prepared to go to a college class, and you can be successful. If you pass this test, you can pass college classes.
Okay, that's level 2 deep. Level 3 deep. Why is that important to you?
So that's important to me because I like college wasn't like my family didn't really say you have to go to college, but they said if you want to, you can. And in high school, I didn't think that college was for me until I went to college and actually saw what doors it could open for me. And so I'm also a social worker, so I really want to motivate people and give them that inspiration that you can change your life, even if you think that you're living a life that you can't get out of or you're stuck in that rut. So there is that light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you see that? Did you see how she got to that? She only went 3 levels deep and she got there. Did you see how she turned that into something personal? Did you see that? Okay, so I hope that as you're answering these, so why do you teach or work with adult learners? You say your answer, and then why is that important to you? And then why is that important to you? This going levels deep, that gives us the reason, right? Why do you, going with our students, why do you want to earn your high school equivalency certificate? Or why do you want to learn English, right? To get a better job. Well, why do you need a better job? To better support my family. Well, why do you need to support your family? Because I don't want to have my family live on the street. Well, why? We just kind of try to get to the deep reason of why our students are here. Okay. Did I give you enough time? I think you probably just answered question 1. I'm going to give you 15-ish more seconds. You're going to have to be really succinct in your answers because I didn't leave you much space on the pink page. Okay. So 15, 20 more seconds. Come on in. We'd love to have you. Okay, so Kathleen here says, I like that adult education is a second chance many times. The adult experience for everyone needs to be nurtured by some type of learning experience for people to be their best selves. And Kathleen, why is that important to you? Okay, did anyone get 3 levels deep? Okay, do you want to share with us? Here, let me grab the mic. I'm trying to be mindful of our online friends.
I started as a K through 12 health and physical education teacher. And when I was doing my student teaching, I had a kindergarten class of 24 students, and 22 of them had a single parent in a small school. And it was mind blowing to me seeing these kids need their parents as role models. So, why is that important to me? Because that's the future of America. We need, and I work for the Department of Corrections. So, the kids need their parents at home. And then, why is that? Your parents are your role model. So that's why.
Yeah, and it's tough when when your biggest or most important role model is, in prison or something, right? So we're helping those for the younger kids. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So this is a technique I do sometimes with my students. Sometimes, to be honest with you, it doesn't work with every student. Let's be real. Sometimes students are like, so I'm not homeless. Well, why don't you want to be homeless? Because I don't. Right. And it doesn't, it just kind of ends there. So I try to do this with my students so I can find that deeper reason. But if they're not in the mindset to do this, it's not going to work. Okay. Another thing I like to do is vision boards. Do any of you use vision boards with your students? Okay. Canva. Do you guys ever use Canva? I love it. I'm on Canva right now. So Canva, oh, I have to show you something. I just learned about that today. I could probably do that all day. So if you're presenting on Canva and you push C, that happens. Oh, there was another one. Oh, there's a microphone drop. Okay, I'm a little distracted there. But vision boards on Canva. Where do you, so these are 4 vision boards that some of my students have created. Where do they envision their life in the future? So maybe we confine it to 1 year or maybe 5 years. What do you want your life to look like in 5 years? And many of our students are visual learners, as are we. And if you're seeing your vision board every day, imagine what's going to happen. Imagine what's going to happen to your students if they see their vision boards every day. This is a great activity that aligns goal setting with digital literacy skills if they're using a program like Canva. Okay, so now I like to have my students sometimes write a letter to themselves. So This reminds them of their why, and it gives them a chance to encourage themselves. So we hold the letters. So they write the letter to themselves, then we hold the letters, and then I will send the letter when the timing is right. So maybe their attendance is lacking, right? Sometimes that happens. So we might send them a letter. Or maybe they're feeling unmotivated. We send them the letter that they wrote to themselves, reminding them of why they're here. Or maybe they just need a pick me up. We send them the letter. So, guess what you're going to do? You're going to write a letter to yourself. Okay, so those of you that are in person, I gave you a letter to write. Okay, so if you didn't get a chance, in the back, we have note cards, or I guess little cards and envelopes. So, what I want you to do is I want you to write a letter to yourself. Friends online, do I read their letters? No, I don't. I don't read these letters. So I want you to write yourself a letter. So I want you to reflect on your why. Why are you teaching? Why are you in adult education? And I want you to remember your impact. Maybe you'll write about stay resilient in setbacks, or maybe a reminder of here are 2 things I learned at COAB that I want to remember. Now, so you're writing this letter to yourself. I didn't know how many people we would have here. And so I didn't know if there were going to be like 80 people or just a few, but if you want, so I'm going to actually change my directions on here. So I hope that I don't ruin Canva, or not Canva. I hope I don't do this. So I want you to actually, don't steal it, and then write your address. Okay, I am going to, friends online, I want you to email it to, whoops. Okay, so write yourself the letter. Okay, so you're gonna write your address on it. Don't seal it because I might stick a couple things in, and I'm going to send you the letter. Okay, so if you don't want me to send it to you, then I don't need to, but I want you to write yourself this letter. Reflect on your why. Friends on Zoom, email it to me, and then I will be emailing it back to you at some time in the future. I'm not going to read these. Okay? You're not stealing it, and I'm not going to open it and read it. I'm just going to put in a couple things. Okay? So if you need a card, they're just in the back, and I'm going to stop talking so that you can write. Okay, I will give you about 1 more minute to write your letter. Again, don't seal the envelope and write your address on the front. I'll throw in the stamp. Okay, if you're just finishing up, that's okay. Friends online, I hope I'll be receiving several emails, and like I said, I'll email them back to you. Everyone else, you'll turn your letter in just at the end. Okay, so if you need to keep writing, please keep writing your letter. Okay, so the next thing that motivates our students is developing cohorts. When they go and they do this independently, they feel alone, right? Remember how I did the analogy of the cows at the beginning? And when we just have an open field, sometimes they feel a little bit lost. So we bring them in a little bit closer, not too close, but a little bit closer, and we're able to develop a cohort, develop friendships. If our students have friends, that is a much better reason than that is a much better reason for them to stay than the connection they have with their teacher. They need to develop friends. Okay, so the reason, build community accountability. We can tell our students, hey, where were you last week? We missed you, right? Or we can send our students a text message on, we use Remind, but it's a little bit different than if their friend sends them a message and says, what's up, right? It also encourages peer learning and collaboration, and they get to connect with people that are different than them, right? Someone that maybe they ordinarily wouldn't be friends with. And they get to, the cohorts provide a shared journey, and that's going to foster that collaboration and the mutual encouragement. Okay, so one way I do this is by circle, which is a question of the day. So I ask about 2 thought-provoking questions each week. So maybe one on Monday and one on Wednesday or something like that. And this is going to encourage my students to reflect on the question, and then we take a talking piece. Now, what is a good talking piece? The vendor session is full of all sorts of random stuff. That makes great talking pieces, okay? So like a squishy or a light up ball or, just random things. So we have a question of the day, and one student starts, and then everyone goes around and answers the question. It's going to take maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. If you're doing one-on-one with your students, it'll only take you just a minute, but they get a chance to know me. They get a chance to know each other, and they get a chance to share. This is going to help your students develop confidence. Confidence by answering a question that everyone can answer, right? And so, what kind of questions do we ask? Well, here are just some examples. So, what motivates you to keep pursuing your GED even on tough days? Or what subject do you find to be the most challenging, and how are you working to improve? What is your favorite TV show? What would your superpower be? Now, these are just a couple of questions, but what has become even more powerful than that is I have my students write questions. What would you like to know about your classmates? And so they've asked all sorts of questions like, what is your favorite drink? So, then I add in non-alcoholic, right? I don't want the 16-year-olds to be telling me their favorite alcoholic drink. So what is your favorite non-alcoholic drink? Or they've asked, if you're stranded on an island, what 2 things would you bring? By my students writing the questions. So maybe at the beginning of class one day, if I'm running low on questions, I'll have them write questions, fold up their paper, put it in a cup, and then at some point their question is going to be asked. That makes the students feel special. And then when we ask the question, when it comes to their time to answer the question that they wrote, maybe in a couple weeks or something, they're going to really like that. And so this is one very easy way that I develop community within my classroom. Okay, high flex classes. Does anyone else offer high flex classes? No? No? Well, aren't you guys lucky? So I do. So actually this teaching on Zoom, right now is not too hard for me, although I feel completely confined right here. I'm one that normally is walking around more. And so, but high flex classes really allow my students, if they're sick or traveling, having transportation issues, they can still attend classes. Okay, so at the beginning of this session, we talked about different things that are getting barriers to success with our student motivation. And so we had a variety of things like transportation. So we need to bring this back to the students, right? We can come up with many, many solutions for them, right? But can the students come up with solutions themselves? So that is where this marketplace comes in. So we go over, here are some common barriers that students have. So lack of motivation or life challenges, whatever barriers they find that might get in the way of their success. Those large like sticky notes. So we'll post those on the board, have one student per station, and then the students are just going to brainstorm. What can we do when these difficult things happen? And they do some brainstorming. Okay, food and fun. This is the best way to motivate your students. You provide them with food and you provide them with fun. Okay, so food. Do you all offer food? Do you have food for your students? Okay, we used to not, and now we do. So every day we have coffee, tea, and hot cocoa. We also have healthy snack mixes. So the healthy snack mixes, I make them every couple of weeks. I have a, little tiny snack bags. I put in like mixed nuts, and with the mixed nuts, I make sure that they're raw nuts. So I want these snack mixes to be very healthy. My students are probably not eating that healthy outside. So I want to make sure that all the snacks I provide are going to be healthy for my students. So in these snack mixes, we have mixed nuts, they're raw nuts, like I said, seeds, pumpkin seeds are really healthy. And, I throw in a few chocolate chips, some raisins, which they don't like, but I do it anyway because, I'm like a mom trying to get them to eat healthy. And then we also have other healthy options. Lunch every day. Every day we provide lunch for our students, and it's just simple. Sandwich makings that are laid out and, like peanut butter and jelly or a meat, cheese, and lettuce sandwich that they can make. And we got this through a Walmart grant, all of the funding for this. So if you live in a community with Walmart, look into their Walmart grants. And I think we got maybe like $3,000, and that funds this. Okay. Sometimes we do special lunches like walking tacos or chili. And then I also really like to bring treats to my students, right? I want to be able to have that connection with them. So every week on Tuesdays, they're going to miss me tomorrow. But I bring in a treat for my students, and they look forward to it every week. So if it's somebody's birthday, maybe they get to help me decide. Baked goods, a fruit tray, a meat and cheese tray, like ones that I make at my house, and deviled eggs. Students love deviled eggs. I don't know. Do you all like deviled eggs? I don't like deviled eggs. And so like every time I'm making them, I'm like, I don't know. But bringing food can really motivate your students. So if you have a partnership with Workforce Services, which you probably do because it's under WIOA, they could maybe provide lunch for your students as well. So every Thursday we take our students to, we're on a college campus, and we take our students to an all-you-can-eat buffet at the college cafeteria. And with this, by being through Workforce, we have to, have a little career component. So we bring in guest speakers that are throughout the different, throughout our community. They come in, they talk to our students eat, and that bonding over food motivates students. Okay, now let's, So I want you to just think for a second, how could your program provide students with healthy food options? What is something that you could do? I love that. Hmm. I love that. Thank you for sharing. So, online friends, she said that she's from Alabama, and there's a nutrition services lady that came in and did a like nutrition cooking class once a week for 6 weeks, and then there was a special graduation. We have something like that as well, and that's again where partnerships come in handy, right? Ours is through the University of Wyoming Extension Office. So maybe like your university, if they have an extension office, they have, I think it's called Sensible Nutrition. That's what ours is called. And we actually had the lady come in and tell us about our program, but she didn't do it. But that's a great way. Many of our students, they don't know how to cook, right? And so that's a great way to at least get them introduced with it. Okay, let's talk about fun. What does your classroom atmosphere look like? So this is my classroom. I'm feeling like my classroom is pretty good. When they come in, I have these streamers right here. That's Lisa. She's a recent graduate. And then I have motivational posters in the background. And that's what my classroom looks like. Our lab classroom, where we have our computers and we actually do our main HiSET testing in there. A student said that it reminded him of when he was at the mental institution. So that was a sting. So we need to fix that. We need to fix that. Make it so that yes, it still aligns with HiSET guidelines, but we need to make it look a little bit better. But maybe ask your students, what do you think of this atmosphere? What could we do to make this a more welcoming environment? And that's fun. Okay, here's something that I do. So we have quirks, right? All teachers have their own little quirks. One thing I do is I celebrate fun holidays. So I have a calendar just like this, and there's a silly holiday every day. So March 31st, Happy Crayon Day. So I like to pass, whenever I pass something out, I would be like, Happy Crayon Day, Happy Crayon Day, right? So fun ways that that's my quirk. That's what I do. What are fun things that you do in your classroom? Talk with a buddy for just a second and say, what are some fun things that you as a person do, fun quirks to make your classroom more fun? Okay, so online friends, type in the chat, tell us what you like to do. Okay, let's take just a minute and have a couple of people say what fun things that they do. Okay, our goal is to have 5 people talk and make it short and tell us fun things because we need more fun in our classrooms. Over here, want to share? Fun. Okay, tell us real quick.
Okay, I would use music. I would create a name for the cohorts and then have each cohort create their own Spotify list.
Love that. Thank you so much. Who's fun over here? You fun? Okay.
I teach high school alternative programs, 17 and 18-year-olds. So they don't interact a lot. So we do game day the last half hour of the week. Like board game.
Oh, I love that. Can I come near? I might be a little old, but
Well, we do like a word wall. We do a success wall, and we take pictures of each one of our graduates, whether they pass one test or all 4 tests for GED, and they love being on the success wall.
oh yeah, that sounds like fun. Who else is fun? Okay, what do you do that's fun?
I provide a box of fidgets because I get a lot of the young ones, like these guys over here too, and they come in with fidget spinners and all that stuff anyway. So I just provide them in class, and then I provide coloring books and crayons too, so that they can do that while they're taking notes and stuff and listening to lectures. And when I have those 8 and 9 a.m. classes, it really helps them stay awake so that they're not falling asleep because they're staying busy with their hands. So.
Absolutely. If you don't have a box of fidgets and some coloring in your classroom, I do too. You need to get some. So go down and get all the free stuff that they have here so you can fill your box. I also have like one of mine is a poop emoji. They think that's pretty cool. All right, anyone fun over here? Okay, tell us what you do.
Well, when you first look at me, you may not look fun, but I have a nickname and that a friend gave me, and it's Little Wayna, and I can make up raps that are really good right at the minute.
Okay, give us a quick rap about Cohen.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
This will be how we send off. Is anyone over here fun? Okay.
Joke of the day.
Okay, joke of the day. We're ready for it. You don't have it. Okay, anyone else fun? How are you fun?
Super fun. In my class, I teach social studies and like I've done a lesson, and then I divide the class in 2, and I will like give a vocabulary word or definition, and the team, they have to slap the table, and then I call on them. But if they shout out the answer and didn't slap the table, then it goes to the other team, and they get to make up a team name, and we keep a tally on the board. It's fun.
Games, any type of game that you can include in your class. That's going to keep your students coming, right? Your students will come if they're having fun. And no matter what the game is. Okay, so we've got online provide music during independent study, a theme lessons around minor holidays, play music, play Kahoot, and Quizlet live. Ooh, today's also Happy Tater Day. Thank you. Happy Tater Day, everyone. Okay, Kahoot. You guys play Kahoot? Students love Kahoot. Like, love it so much. If you're not playing Kahoot, you need to start playing Kahoot. Okay, these fly swatters are, it's a fly swatter game. So basically you have 2 teams. Each one has a fly swatter. You ask a question. They have to like slap the vocabulary word or whatever, and whichever team slaps it first gets a point. Try to implement more fun like this in your classroom, and the students will keep coming. Celebrations. They love celebrating. So we had over there the success wall, an example of a celebration. So in my classes, we go to Monday through Thursday. So what do we have? A 3-day weekend every weekend. So what do? The happy 3-day weekend dance, right? Happy 3-day weekend, happy 3-day week. And they, at first they're kind of like, Michelle's weird. But then after a few weeks, they're happy 3-day weekend dancing with me, right? Think about other ways you can build in celebrations. Okay, so last thing before we hear the rap. So Oh, the rap and the joke. Thank you very much. So on the bottom here, whenever I attend a conference or a session, I want to have a couple of takeaways. So what are things that you're going to do that you have learned in here that you can start implementing now? You can start implementing when you go back to school. So write down 2 takeaways that you have from this session. And I'm going to come back. We're going to hear the joke of the day and then our wrap. So before I do that, or as I walk down, thank you all for coming with me. If you didn't already connect with me, there's the QR code. I'm just a teacher, just like all of you, trying to make a difference in my students' lives. And I hope that you download the free resources that I have, with the QR code, your name, your email. And if you don't like what I have to say, then unsubscribed. No feelings hurt. Okay, we're ready. Joke of the day.
Remember the joke. It's black and
I don't, because our students wouldn't know, right? You guys should know this joke. Everybody knows this joke, but do our students? No. So you're going to be like, this is a,
newspaper.
okay, so a newspaper is, it's like showing a history. It's like an artifact, right? This is a newspaper. I love that. Thank you for that joke. I hope I didn't just ruin it with my canter in the middle. All right, and ending. What a great ending. You can come to my next class. I do another one tomorrow. It's called Going from Being a Good to a Great Teacher. And I would love to either start or end with a rap. So you're welcome to come to that one. And all of you come to that one. We're gonna level up our teaching. Okay, so ending with our COABE rap.
Okay. So, artists, they've got money. They pay for people to write their work. So I may or may not have used AI for this really quickly, but it's not even about it's not even about that. It's about like the swag that you bring to it, right? So I need everybody to clap their hands. We need to work on that. Okay. Yo, I'm headed to COABE, Conference on the Rise, where we elevate education, aiming for the skies. Teachers, learners, leaders, all in the same spot, gather to ignite, changing, give it all we got. Wiggity, wiggity, wiggity.
And I thought that I was a quirky teacher, I bet your students love that so much. Okay, so go out there, motivate your students, do great things in this world. And above all, thank you all for dedicating your career and your life to adult education. Our students, the world is so blessed to have each and every one of you. So if you wrote your letter, you can just leave it on the table there as you're leaving. And if you have your name and address on it, I will see you sometime. You never know when. Okay, online friends, Zoomies, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And yes, come to my next class. Oh, and send your students to Purely Persistent online. All right, goodbye, everyone. Have a great night. Okay, hold on.